Hey guys, what is up? Ioki here bringing you some Leona coaching. Today we are coaching a player by the name of Abba. They are a silver level Leona player that has previously peaked in gold, but not only after this coaching session are we going to get you back to your peak of gold, but we are going to go so far beyond that. So right off the bat, I took a look at your OPGG, and it looks like you are aware of the Glacial build on Leona, which is really good because swapping between the Glacial and the Aftershock is, depending on matchup, is pretty solid. I think either one could slot into this matchup against Ezreal and Maokai. Honestly, though, the Glacial works really, really well against squishy champions with no mobility. And when you're thinking about which runes to take, especially Keystone, you're not thinking about just the ADC, right? Yes, Ezreal's squishy, but he's not immobile. Guess who is on their team? Maokai. In fact, he took Comet, so he's really doubling down on the squishy aspect of him. The only survivability that he has is that he gets a little bit of life back with his passive. But if you engage onto Alistar or Maokai with your Glacial proc, there is just absolutely no way that he gets out. So I probably would have gone Glacial into this matchup, but Aftershock is totally fine. I don't want you to think that that's bad. But before we get into the match, let me introduce myself. I got a little ahead of myself, guys. My name is Ioki, which you probably know, but if this is your first time on the channel for some reason, I am a multi-season high elo talent. I've won Twitch Rivals 3 times, have hundreds, thousands of games of Leona, rank 1 Leona World, so I think I'm pretty qualified to do some Leona coaching like this, and hopefully you guys enjoy and learn a whole lot. So in my coaching sessions, I like to talk about what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. What you're doing right, you're not one of those people that's sitting in Nexus or in Fountain until a minute into the game. You are out there being proactive because the game starts at 0 seconds, right? So I love to see this proactivity. You come down here and get a really well-placed ward for the tri-bush. But what you're not doing well is you're just sitting here. What are you doing here? You need to be over here covering your other entrance. Because in solo queue, you want to... It's an unfortunate fact that, especially as support, you're going to be reliant on your team, but your team's not watching this entrance. So better pathing from level 1 is you go here, drop the ward and tri-bush, and then immediately come back here. And if you're fast about it, no team is going to be able to invade and get here, because you always need to be thinking about the worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario is the entire team is invading, and because you've only covered one entrance, your team gets invaded, you get, your buff stolen, your jungler killed, all that stuff. Now, does this happen in this game? I have no idea. Probably not. But always cover both entrances. You can do it by yourself. It looks the same way on the other team or on the other side of the map. So you go here, path here, ward here, and then double back around and sit somewhere around here. And that way you're covering both entrances. So you as support can cover both entrances. And then on top of that, if you have both entrances covered, like someone's either warding here or sitting here, what you can do is reset and go back and get your red trinket, which is super, super nice coming into this lane as Leona, because it helps you keep bush control, which is super important. We'll talk about that. But yeah, that's the first big no-no I've seen you do, is you're only covering one entrance. So worst case scenario, you guys get invaded and you die. Looks like your jungler is opting to path top to bottom. So he's starting on the blue buff. You're telling your ADC to wake up. She needs to. All right, we've got bush control. Now, I'm going to be harping on you a lot about bush control because this matchup is very, very bush control centric. Obviously, the dynamic's going to change, whether it's level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But level 1, Maokai is either going to start his W or he's going to start his E. And we're going to learn about which one he starts really fast. And it's going to be basically a power struggle between Maokai controlling the bushes and not allowing you to control them, or you sitting in them and being a constant threat to jump onto the Maokai. So the fact that he hasn't already thrown a comment means he probably started W. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and look. Yeah, he did start W. Did start W level 1. But even if he has, okay, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect, and this is the importance of controlling bushes on Leona. He's walking up and using his relic shield. So what you're going to do here is you're going to auto him. Okay. So very first, this is ideal for Leona. So I want you to be able to, it's good that you punished him for doing that, but you could have done it way harsher. And especially level 1, you're like the strongest champion in the game at level 1 and 2 as Leona. So you definitely need to set the pace of the lane and maximize your early trades. So auto, Q, auto. Your Q is an auto reset. And then honestly, worst case scenario, he has W and goes on you. Okay, you win that. So you want to stay on top of him, extend this trade out level 1 much further than you did. You played way too safe here for a Maokai level 1 with no Aftershock. Because remember, he has Comet, man. He's squishy. You can kill him, honestly. You can at least blow his flash. So we'll watch that one more time. Maokai walks up, and because you have great placement in the bush, which is exactly where you should be, you get the jump on him. Auto Q, auto hit him here, and then honestly, path forward. Stay on top of him, right? Get the Aftershock damage early game is like no joke. It's not insignificant. So definitely could have extended that trade much longer. And then imagine if you did. Imagine if you stayed on top of him. He's panicking. Maybe Ezreal panic flashes. You drop your Ignite, and then your Q cooldown is only 5 seconds. So, like, if you follow him up here, you have another stun by the time you're here. But, all right, level 1 went okay. Let's see how we do, because you've already showed yourself that you win level 1, right? So I need to see you being way more aggressive, right? You've got 2 options here. You can kill these 2 minions, hit level 2 and kill them, or you can sit in this bush and zone them from hitting level 2. But you're not doing either. You hit level 2 as soon as this minion dies, right? So your 2 options should be to start the fight on Maokai because you know you win level 2, right? Leona into Maokai, Caitlyn into Ezreal. You win in every facet. So your options are to start the fight right here, right now, or to go over here, use Relic Shield, get your level 2, and go onto the Maokai. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Maokai started the fight. Maokai started the fight. So stay on him. Stay on him, bro. You are Leona. Why are you backing out? You are the strongest champion in the game, level 2. So let's watch that again, because the early levels on Leona are super, super important. So first of all, you need the game knowledge to know that on the second wave, you kill the melees, and you're going to get level 2 off of this minion. So be ready for that. It's a very important part of laning, but this is literally the most perfect scenario I can even imagine. Maokai engages onto you exactly where you want to be. Look how much damage you did to him when you were afraid. Imagine if you had committed to that, you literally just killed that guy. All right, so now we're level 2. Now we're going to be looking for more engages. This is a little bit of a nitpick, and I honestly, I always struggle with taking this into coaching sessions because skins are cool. I get that. I know that. But most Leona skins are pretty clunky. She has a surprising amount of animation cancels. Things like what we talked about earlier, auto Q auto, E flash, E auto Q, stuff like that. That have somewhat precise timings, and these big flashy, high production value skins make it a little harder to land things, I've found. Her E just feels like a little sloppy on this skin. I find myself missing these a lot more when I use these skins, but use it if you want to. You've got so many more things to worry about. All right, so once again, your job as Leona is to control the bush. And you do that by having a sweeper level 1, which we don't, and also auto Q autoing wards. So your Q is up when this Ezreal places this ward. Why are you not auto Q autoing it? You remember how much pressure you were able to exert when you controlled this bush? You exert even more pressure when you control this one, right? So just auto Q auto this, and you get a little bit of extra gold. All right, so starting now, you need to be thinking about where the enemy jungler is. We are not certain which buff he well, their blue is missing. But just basically starting at like 245 all the way to like 345 is what is called a jungle timer. It's a massive jungle timer for an action to take place. And, most of those actions are either a gank on top lane, or a gank on bot lane, and that just has to do with like the timing of how most champions are able to clear jungle camps. So Teemo, not super familiar with how Teemo paths, but we can assume that he started his red and then pathed down. Basically what I'm trying to tell you is that you should be having your eyes wide open for jungle activity around right now. You need to be watching the enemy bot laners and thinking to yourself, are they acting the same way they were a minute ago? Are they acting different? And if so, why? Could be that the jungle is near. Could be that they're trying to get priority in lane. Could be that they're trying to bait you into a fight, knowing that their jungler is near. Or it could be, a Mumu is getting invaded. Or it could be, just this is a massive, massive timer. and there's a lot of options for a jungler like Teemo to take. So just be careful about committing into fights right now. Like, this seems like a pretty good trade. But worst case scenario, Teemo could be literally right here, right? And then you probably die. So just be aware of that timer and just be understand that your role as a support is to always match the actions of the jungler. Your jungler and the enemy jungler. It's a big part of your role. Is to... Okay. What did I say? What did I say? And what are we doing? We're not responding at all. We're not responding at all. This should be something that Teemo should absolutely lose the game over. A risky invade like this. Like, yes, okay, he cheeses the red. Maybe he even still kills a Mumu. But your mid needs to be rotating to this, and you absolutely need to be rotating to this. But we're not seeing any response. And that's kind of why I brought it up, because as a champion like Leona, every action that you take early game is very, very important, because you're an early game champion. So be ready to respond to invades. Be ready. Sometimes it's going to be your jungler looking for an invade on their buff, and what you do is you take actions to help supplement that as the support. You know, push your lane, walk up, sweep it out, and then kill your jungler with your jungler. Unfortunately, your jungler was on the receiving end of this, and you just weren't in a position to respond or didn't see it or something. I do like this lane aggression, though. I do like this. You're using up a lot of your health bar, which I love to see. You're not sitting back with a full HP bar and not contributing anything. But I do like that. Now, what I want to see from your first reset is you buy boots and you walk mid. Buy boots, walk mid like this, right? Okay, no, we bought Ruby Crystal. We bought Ruby Crystal and pathed straight to bot. So the importance of pathing mid is that, one, it places you in a better area to drop or sweep out a ward. You can pop this. You can maybe sweep out vision on the bot side of the river. You can gank mid. Your options are limitless. Whereas if you walk straight to bot, your options are limited. Extremely limited. Oh, look at this. You could have been there for this counter gank on this exact timer if you had walked mid. So get into the habit. It's not always going to turn into something good, but worst case scenario, you path through mid and you lose like an extra 6 or 7 seconds walking back through the river to bot, right? Best case scenario, you're here for a counter gank, you sweep out some vision, you're useful to the team, right? And to be honest, Caitlyn doesn't even need you bot right now, does she? Oh, she's got the wave in. All right, great pick. Good stuff. Like I said, I always want to point out what you're doing right, so you can continue doing that and stop doing the bad things. This is great. This is an excellent example of why controlling bushes in this matchup is so important. Because eventually Maokai's going to get a little curious. He's a little curious cat, right? Beautiful. Yeah, good stuff, man. Go on Teemo here. Yo, you just go on Teemo there. Instantly. This is a 0... Yeah. This is an instant kill for, onto the Teemo. You could even see it. Even he was like, oh man, maybe I should not be here. But yeah, it is good that you're placing yourself between your ADC and the jungle, but without his support here, you guys win that 2v2 so hard. Yeah, their Ezreal has a tier. He has nothing. All right, so we're gonna be... What are we doing? What are we doing here? Okay. I mean, honestly, I would probably just be pressing W or just face taking that. Just tanking that. Just because worst case scenario, Caitlyn walks up and gets chunked by it. Your Mumu tries to gank through this and gets hit by it. The Leona Maokai matchup is pretty easy for you because it feels like Maokai's only option in this matchup in bot lane is to try to poke people out, and he can't poke you out. I mean, you got Biscuits, you're Leona, you've got reduced flat damage on your W, so his E does like nothing. He'll just run himself out of mana if he just keeps doing that. Oh, okay, so luckily it expired right before your jungler came through. But again, that could have, if you didn't tank that and it didn't expire, that would have given away the whole gank, right? And then Teemo knows that your jungler's in the bot side. He can do whatever he wants top side. It'd be bad. But it looks like this is going to be your jungler gank. So what you need to do is, it's a little bit of like an unspoken exchange, right? When a jungler ganks. Because you guys both have fantastic engage. Amumu and Leona. Caitlyn not so much, but she's got decent follow-up. It's a little bit of an unspoken exchange because Amumu was thinking, okay, Leona needs to start this, right? And sometimes the support will be thinking, okay, do I wait for the jungler? And then you just sit there waiting, wasting a bunch of seconds. Looks like you're not wasting it, so this is good. I like to see this. All right, this should be free gank. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. I love the fact that you took the initiative. You didn't make it super obvious they were getting a gank. And you flash E'd. You should never flash E on Leona. Never, ever. See that flash? Every player and their grandmother will be able to react to that. But you know what they literally physically can't react to? Is an E flash, which is you're canceling the E auto or the E animation into the flash, and it basically makes it so it's not reactable at all. You can hit Ezreal with it, you can hit Tristana's with it, but the E flash, luckily, you know, you still land it. It just comes out a little bit slower, and it's onto a Maokai who doesn't have a flash. But if Maokai had a flash, honestly, this whole gank might not work because you chose to flash E instead of E flash. So go into the practice tool, practice E flash. It'll look a little weird because she will begin her Zenith Blade animation, and then you flash forward, and it moves the Zenith Blade forward with you. And there's very little counterplay to it. But like, let's say Maokai has flash here, there's a very big chance that he just flashes out of this, right? And it doesn't land, and then the whole gank is bunk. So I know it feels like I'm nitpicking right now, but there is a big difference between flash E and E flash, and there's no reason to ever flash E. All right, so it looks like we're trying to get out of lane here, kind of wasting our time. Very nice, actually. Wow, this actually works. Whoa, the blind E. Okay, bro. The Leona instincts on point. Nice. Also, good to see that you're taking Hex Flash. That is a really, really good tool for Leona. All right. Once again, like I talked about earlier, your role as the support, what you're doing on the map is always a mirror of what the jungler's doing. It's always dependent on where their jungler is and where your jungler is. And it looks like your jungler's wanting to do the dragon. So let's see what we need to do to be conducive to that. Okay. So unfortunately, we missed our E here. Not much we can contribute since we can't get in. They give you another timer for it since, you know, the cooldown does eventually come back. Okay, so honestly, I would probably just wait for Amumu to throw a Q on this Teemo. You're not in a big hurry, and Teemo has a movement steroid. His W makes him faster, and your E just comes out so slow, especially on that skin. So I would probably just be waiting for Amumu to stun him with a point-blank Q, and then E on top of that, right? See, if you had waited for your E, this is free then, right? And then this whole play never even happens because you guys just beat Teemo to death. Because once you're on top of him, he's dead, right? So always be thinking about, you know, same way as like when we're back to the conversation of what was going on during the gank, Amumu's thinking, oh, I'm going to play off of Leona. Always be thinking about like how the sequence of events should go. And in that one, it's definitely just Amumu goes first. Wait for his. And then there's pretty much no chance of failure, right? All right, we're taking a reset. Once again, we're pathing straight to bot, even though there's a lot of action going on mid. There's a lot of vision to be controlling in the river. Caitlyn doesn't even need you. This is the worst habit I've seen you make. Okay? This is absolutely the worst habit I've seen you make. Stop pathing the bot. You are wasting your time. Amumu does not need you to leash Krugs. Amumu needs you in the river doing support things, okay? Now, you've dedicated your top laner to coming down. You have to get the dragon here. If you don't get the dragon, it is really, really bad. Okay, Hex Flash over this wall. Hex Flash over this wall. Like, honestly, the E was cool, but what if you miss? There's always a chance, you know, you always want to minimize the chances of you missing, right? And if you just Hex Flash over, you just hit him with the Q. So, good looks, you know, good ambush. But definitely, since you are on a timer, you dedicated your top laner to come down here. There's no way you lose this fight, right? There's just no way. Don't be running. Do not be backing up. You are frontline, bro. You are frontline with a full HP bar. I do not ever want to see you backing up like this again. You need to be here, not here. Frontline for your team. Create space. Right? Lock them down. Get in there. Get dirty, baby. So I'm seeing slight hesitations from you. You know, you take like a third of your health bar and you start getting a little spooked. But other than that, I'm seeing some good stuff. There you go. Okay, see how much easier that was to play off of Gnar stun? Boom. No chance for it to miss. And then I also like to see you understanding that it is not your job to stay on this Malzahar. You path forward. You continue frontlining. Good stuff, good stuff. Now, you see, you backed up, though. You go from doing really, really good micro-level stuff to doing really, really newbie stuff. This was great. This was great. You stay on that Ezreal. You keep him out of the fight. He cannot enter this fight anymore because you're in his face. You've got your W proc. You've got your Aftershock proc. It's not your job to kill this guy, right? Don't come back for him. Assume your team can kill this guy. See, imagine if you're, like, still on top of this Ezreal. Yeah. Alright, so understanding it's like an ebb and flow thing, right? Sometimes you have to back up, but you're backing out at the wrong times of the fight. And if you had stayed on top of this Ezreal, you wouldn't have had to use your ultimate with no leading CC. You wouldn't have missed it. That's called raw ulting, by the way. It's not a very good habit. Raw ulting should only be like a last resort if you absolutely cannot engage with like Q or E, Q, or get them locked down or whatever. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. It's a hard ulti to land. This is fine to fish for, by the way. It's totally fine. Push in the wave, and then we go to dragon again. We just continue that song and dance. Same thing, same thing. Now, the number one thing you can do to help your team before a dragon fight is, one, plopping a control ward here. I don't think I've seen you purchase a single control ward. Have you? Is this yours? I don't think I've seen you purchase a single control ward. So, one, that's the easiest way to exert pressure on a map is for both pits, just dropping a control ward right here, right in front of the dragon. Controls this entire pit, controls all of here, and then eventually they have to come check it, right? Because they won't have vision of it, and they have to eventually be like, we don't know if they're on dragon. I guess let's go check it. And then you bash their teeth in with your shield, baby! But, so that's number one thing you can do to help your team do dragon, or control the objective. Number two is pushing in this wave. So, luckily, you guys got a kill. You guys got a kill, so this should be free. Excellent, excellent. Also, you understand that it's not your job to be DPSing this. Okay, maybe you don't understand that. All right, so your job is to be preventing the chance that Teemo steals it. And you don't do that right here. You do that over here. You play the bush. I thought I saw some good action coming over here. You know, stand here, guard one of the exits, right? Your job is not to DPS this dragon. Caitlyn and Amumu, I promise you, your little dinky 30 damage auto attacks did not help that at all. Now, imagine worst case scenario, Teemo comes out of the fog of war because you're not standing there looking for him, steals it at the last second, scurries away while laughing. All right? So that's your job. Understand your role of securing the dragon. It's usually not the DPS. Sometimes it is. There, it absolutely was not. Okay, see Teemo top. You're taking a reset, and please don't walk back to bot. Please don't walk back to bot. Walking back to bot, bro. Bro, imagine if you were here. Imagine if you were here instead of here. You turn this whole thing. You kill their mid laner, right? You're limiting your options by pathing bot every single time. And then once again, Caitlyn didn't even need you bot. You know who did need you? Kaisa. All right, so Kaisa needs you to do something called shadowing here, where you basically just sit around and make sure she doesn't die while she's getting her wave in. Because look at her health bar. She wants to go back. She probably has quite a bit of gold too. She does not want to stay in lane with this with her HP like this, right? So what you need to be doing is walking up, using your health bar. Even if you take a little bit of damage from Malzahar, push these waves. Push these waves. Be your bodyguard, bro. Shadow her. See, she does not want to be in this wave, bro. She wants out, man. Help her out. All right, so that's what you should have been doing mid. Let's see what we do instead. No one needs you over here. You need to be over here. Path forward. Be the front line, bro. All right. Okay, so let me wrap my head around this. We've got a squishy, free Maokai right here that can't even attack you without taking turret damage. And instead, we go for a risky play of raw ulting a Teemo that is so far away from your ADC that in order to even touch him, she would need to like walk forward here, putting herself into danger. Go for this target. This is the free one, right? You always got to be thinking about like, okay, yeah, you can almost land ult on Teemo, but your ult's not going to one-shot him. You still need your damage to damage him, right? She can't damage this guy. She can damage this guy, though. Imagine if you used your E, auto, Q, auto, ultimate on Maokai. Kate's setting traps down. That's a kill. From what I can see in this fight, you guys aren't going to get anything. Now, maybe the team misplays it and you do get a kill or two, but this is not... He's right in front of you, bro. Yeah, now we're going too deeps. See, she can't follow up here, bro. She cannot follow up. Now, I'm not saying that you do this, but as, you know, as one of the most common things I get in my stream is I get questions like, Aoki, I play Leona, and I go, and I engage, and my team doesn't follow up. What gives, man? You're probably not making engages they can actually follow up on, right? This was not an engage Caitlyn could ever do anything with. She did as much as she could. All right, so this is good. We're taking advantage of the fact that they hard out. No. We stay on Ezreal there. We stay on Ezreal there because look, Ezreal is now unchecked DPSing. This Maokai's dead no matter what. You stay on the Ezreal there. So it's gonna take some learning. It's gonna take some game knowledge. But sometimes you go deep to zone out, and sometimes you take the freebie. In the previous scenario, Maokai was the freebie, right? You don't want to go deep. It's so risky. But it's not like Ezreal's going to solo you. In fact, at this stage of the game, you probably solo Ezreal. But most importantly, you keep him from DPSing. You have to trust that Amumu and Caitlyn can take this character. They don't need you anymore, right? But by not standing in front of Ezreal, you give him like a line of sight to DPS and contribute to the fight. So definitely, you're a very sticky champion. You absolutely stay on Ezreal there. Maybe you guys still get him. Yep, you do. Nice. Yep, you do. Nice. Nice. Bye-bye. All right, shove this wave. Reset. Good stuff. All right, so we went Merc Treads and Even Shroud. Leona's itemization is a little stagnant. It's a little stale. It's not really something that a lot of players mess up. Even Shroud and Locket are both totally fine. I probably would have gone for a... Even Shroud's totally fine. Merc Treads are totally fine. In fact, Merc Treads are very good this game. Even Shroud and Locket, you know, it's not going to make the biggest world of difference. There are certain comps, like anti-dive comp. Like, if they have a lot of dive on their team, you're going to be playing a little bit of a peel. You probably go Locket. But a game like this where they have enough targets for you to safely and like reliably dive against, you probably Even Shroud is probably a good play here. Because you got to think about when you go Locket, you are and you're playing a like dive primarily you're diving with the moon and stuff like that, you're probably not even going to be able to get lock it off on your carries. So the value of the item is greatly reduced. So we went even shroud, good item. You've got good itemization so far. I don't know if it will stay that way, but so far you've got good itemization. Other than not rushing boots. Definitely want to rush boots. Okay, so we need to not be less than half health when the dragon spawns. So the 40 seconds leading up to a dragon, right about now when you check your timer, it's gonna be like 40 seconds till dragon spawn. Yeah, you don't want to be doing this. Unless that's just like a guaranteed kill. And then, you know, the trade of half your health bar for their ADC is good. But now look at this. We're pretty much gonna have to be off of the map when the dragon spawns. You've totally ruined the lead up to the dragon. We have no vision control on it. We have no health bar. We can't face check anymore. So losing this dragon was pretty much solely your fault, I would say. Not solely your fault, but there was a lot. There's a lot that you did wrong there. Okay, just showing off the Hex Flash. All right. Yeah, it's deeps. It's really deeps to try to do this. You also really want to break this habit of using your ultimate as your primary engage. That's called raw ulting, and it just very rarely works. You actually landed it perfectly there, but shouldn't really be looking for that engage at all. You already got the objective. So now what you want to do is you want to take your bot laners and swap them into the top lane. You want to go 2v1 this Gangplank. You just don't want to be bot, essentially. So it looks like we are playing in an elo where we understand that, and or at least we're going to go mid. Again, ideally, you guys are top right now, and Kai'Sa swaps down into the bot lane. Especially because I don't think you'll be able to dive a Malzahar, who's just going to WQE constantly and just like not give you a wave to dive with. Whereas I actually think you probably can dive mid-game GP. But we're kind of just floundering around this mid-game section. They've got the Rift Herald going top. Looks like it didn't crack a turret. Okay. So notice once again that you're not chaining your CC correctly. If you're chaining your CC correctly, you should never miss the actual stun portion of your ultimate. Whereas, like, look at this. You let the stun expire before casting your ultimate. So he has time to move out of it. So that stun doesn't land. There's a more advanced way to get a guaranteed ultimate stun. Oh, nice. Very nice. And that's chaining your E into your R. It's called the ER combo. You kind of just like slide your fingers across the keys, cast them both at once, because Leona's casting animations are kind of fluid in that like you can cast, for instance, while you're on your way from your E, you can pop your W. You can pop your Q, I mean. You can cast your E, and then while you're on your way in transit, you can cast your R. So that 0.5 seconds of rooting will keep them in place while the R comes down and stuns them. And then, of course, after that stun runs out, you've got another stun ready with your Q. But I'm not even seeing the most basic combos being strung together. The basic combo, of course, is just an E. You're on top of them, Q, and then you cast the R while they're stunned from the Q. So I definitely think you would benefit a lot from going into practice tool and just practice Leona combos. It doesn't even look like your decision making or macro are some of the biggest offenders I'm seeing here. You're failing to string together like the most simplest of combos. And I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings or anything. It's just that like I don't think you're a bad player. I think you could be so much better if you just know not to open with ulti. If you just wait for someone to CC them and reduce the risk of you missing your E. If you just chain your EQR better. So many of these scenarios are so close to being like really good clean, and we're just failing mechanically. So go into practice tool, string together your put down a target dummy. See, that was good. That was good. Where's this been? Yeah, see? There's no downtime on the stun there. But yeah, go into a practice tool, spawn a target dummy, and then just make sure when you're doing EQR, there is no time where there's, like, the word stunned over his head does not appear. Because if there's even a millisecond, it can make a big difference. And as you get higher into elo, it will make a big difference, right? You know, Ezreal will be smashing his flash key, and if you don't string the QR together, he flashes into his team and you miss. Got Gangplank halted. Alright, so we are going Frozen Heart next. Definitely would not be going that. Like I talked about earlier, Leona itemization is it's pretty easy. You go your Mythic, you go your tier 2 boots, and then you either go Knight's Vow or Zeke's. They're not the most exciting items, but they're just kind of on paper the most efficient. I like to see you blocking this for your ADC though. That's good. Yup. This is a squishy champion and you're treating him as such. Good stuff. Okay. We're overextending hardcore here. Looks like we blow up the Teemo though. Nice. Alright, we'll walk in mid. Now, I still have not been seeing a whole lot of control ward purchases out of you. And remember, literally the easiest way to have pressure the enemy team, buy a control ward, plop it here. You can do, there's so many options for you to do that, and it just puts the idea in the back of their heads. It's like, oh man, maybe they're doing Baron, we should go check that. And then you can play off of that fear and cheese a bush and kill them when they go and check it. But instead, they just know for an absolute fact that you're not doing Baron. You should always kind of like plant that seed of like, oh, maybe they are sneaking it or something like that. It's just really easy way to pressure teams. Effortless. And yeah, see, exactly. You're really, really nervous to come up and check this, right? Because why? You don't know if they're there or not because we have no vision on it. Okay, there's not really a play to be made here. Malzahar has the spell shield. It's just not really gankable. So what you should be doing is plopping down all of our wards in areas like this and this. So rule of thumb for vision. Rule of thumb. This is a game that you guys are. I mean, it's roughly even, which is kind of crazy to think because you have double their kills. Rule of thumb is that in games that you're ahead, you should be warding their jungle. In games that it's even, you should be contesting vision in the river, like plopping down control wards in this bush, here. And then games that are behind, you should be playing very defensively and warding your own jungle, trying to minimize cut losses. Don't go bot here. Nobody needs you bot here. There's already 3 champions. And post this late into the game, with a DPS heavy team, they absolutely could be doing Baron here. So the second any team worth their salt sees 3 players in the bot lane, they know, oh, 60% of their team can't respond if we do Baron right now. Are they? Nope, they're not. I wish they were, just to teach this lesson. But yeah, also, they just don't need you here. You're reaching the part of the game where you just need to let solo laners split. Just let them create pressure in the side lanes. You need to be like pushing mid with Caitlyn, maybe roaming with your jungler, maybe doing Baron, controlling vision on Baron. All right, remember, any fight we take here, we're immediately at a disadvantage because we have 2 marksmen versus Teemo, and we're already chunked. So, once again, we are coming into the dragon with a massive disadvantage, and it's because you wasted time in bot lane. 1 minute before the next dragon in your next game, I want you to genuinely look at the clock, be like, dragon spawns in a minute. What am I doing in this next minute that is going to help me fight the dragon? I'm conserving my health bar, maybe taking a reset, spending my gold, stocking up on control wards, which I still haven't seen you purchase. And then pinging to my team that, like, I want to control the pit. So as of right now, once again, we're raw alting when you've got targets right here that you can EQ onto. And your ult hit nobody. Your ult did not stun anybody. Leona has like 3.5 seconds of CC, and you're wasting 1.5 of them, bro. Only, you gotta break that habit. Break the habit of raw ulting. It's one of the worst things you can get into. There's so many ways to just get guaranteed stuns. Like, I've played 10,000 games of Leona. I've played it, you know, in high elo against players that can dodge. I've played it, and even still, I only use my ult if it's an absolute last result, or last resort. Because there's a chance that it misses. You can't always land them. You know, there's prediction involved. There's luck. There's a lot of things. And you remove all of that from the equation if you just use your EQ first. I promise you. So those are two of the biggest problems I'm seeing you do, is that you're just not preparing for Dragon at all. You're lucking into these because, like, you still are getting most of them. But that's not because of you. All right, once again, really, really ugly CC chaining here, bro. So there's the stun. If we're planning to use our ult, why not use it all at once? All right, there's the root. Once again, you can ER him during this route, but that's a little more advanced. You can try that out in the practice tool, but the simplest one is just EQR. See how you're leaving this space here? He's not CC'd, so you're ulti. Well, it does land this time, actually. But that's luck that he pathed right into it. Hey, we alive. We're dead. All right, so this is in these lower elo games, this kind of becomes the part of the game that's a little more on the uncoachable side, because it just feels like 10 players running around with very, very little focus or anything. You didn't sweep the pit once again. No control words. You're losing out on a lot of free pressure by not at the very least sweeping it, and you know, ideally put a control word there. Yeah, I mean, this is all like really kind of just uncoachable, like Fiesta stuff. Like, oh, we're fighting, okay, we're losing, oh, we're winning, oh, okay. So I think we've gotten most of the value that we're going to get out of this coaching session. It's just going to come down to, like, someone's going to get caught, they're going to do Baron or like drop 3 inhibs, and the game's pretty much going to be over, right? Yeah, I mean, these are all just like Fiesta fights. Oh, everyone's dead, okay. Not really much to learn from there in terms of like support. Okay, they got a dragon. We clear out some vision. They got Baron. Yeah, okay, we're A-ramming. Okay. Let me just make sure there's nothing with value of coaching here anymore. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure Gank like just going to like one-shot everybody now. Oh, you actually killed him, nice. Love that skin recall too. Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of on our final legs here. Okay, yeah, this is what a lot of the late game for Leona looks like, by the way. It's just like kind of timidly dropping wards, resetting, usually getting chunked, roaming with your jungler. I mean, you guys do still have a win con. You guys could get Infernal Drake here. And this is actually the first dragon that I've seen you actively, you know, set up for. So I love to see this. It might just be a little bit too little too late. And also, I know I've said it a million times, so like, bro, buy some control words, please. I mean, it's just Fiesta fight. Okay, so it looks like we lose this fight. They take the dragon. Run you guys down, mid and bot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've gotten all the value out of this coaching session. So, that is going to be it. That's going to conclude it. Oh, looks, whoa, we get Baron? Oh, we get Baron and we die? Yeah, that's going to conclude the coaching session. So if you have absolutely any questions, please let me know. If you guys watch this on YouTube, put the questions down in the comment section. I do actually read those. But in summary, absolutely work on that pathing mid. You're going to open up so many options. Go into practice tool, actually learn how to string together Leona combos. Maybe even look up like a video guide on those, because there is a surprising amount of combos in Leona's kit. Remember to play bot lane, know your matchups, and understand that this Maokai and a lot of champions very, very much like him cannot fight you level 1 or 2. Control those bushes. Do not be afraid. Path forward. Learn to frontline for your team. Create space. Learn how to identify which target you should be sticking on. Learn when to go deep. Stop freaking raw ulting. Buy control words. And do not buy these items. Do not buy Force of Nature and Frozen Heart. Go with Knight's Vow and Zeke's. Yeah, that's going to conclude our Leona session. I hope you guys learned a lot. I know there's a lot of concepts, a lot of things discussed. So again, if you have any questions, I would love to know. Take it easy, boys. Peace.